welcome to the show. I am here on GTA 5 at the top of Mt Chiliad for some more downhill chaos, and today we shall be taking a look at some race cars, and we start with the Stallion. Now, I have driven the standard Stallion down the mountain. I think it's one of the first cars that I did on the Xbox One. But I was curious as to how this stock car one would compare. Would it be any faster? Would it be any different? You can make a strobe light out of the back of it, which is always good fun. Make some fire. But yeah, I was really interested to see how this one would do. The hikers are being a pain again. They really are quite determined to get in the way of most of these runs now. Anyway, I set off with this vehicle. I expected some good things, if I'm honest, out of the stock car version. The normal Stallion is the second fastest car that we've had down here, only beaten by the James Bond Aston Martin thing. So, yeah, I expected this to be pretty damn fast, if I'm honest, and on the opening run things were going pretty well. I made it around the first corner, made it down the narrow little path, and we hadn't had any real issues, and things carried on fairly well until I hit a bump a little bit awkward, took a little bit too much speed, and now we're upside down. There's some sky there. I thought for a minute we were falling off the edge of the mountain, but we got away with it. Only just got away with it. It's actually quite rare to roll over there and land. You normally end up rolling and then flying down the side of the mountain. We survived, but yeah, not a good idea to roll over there. Had another roll, again, just clipping a bump a little bit awkwardly on that one. It's a kind of commonplace to send cars sort of rolling and crashing across that jump, especially the more road orientated, more race orientated cars. They kind of get bounced around sometimes on some of these bumps, and yeah, you get thrown about. I made a slight mistake, slight misjudgment on the steering there, and may have cocked that one up. I was yeah, trying to get the car under control, and I don't know why I thought going right was a good idea. It wasn't. I fell off the mountain, and then I tried to climb back up again, which also doesn't work. No. My my stock car is a little bit stuck. There wasn't really any major problems with this car. I think I may have bounced off one of the hikers' heads there. I'm not entirely sure. Either way, karma instantly gets me back as I take too much speed over a jump, get too much airtime, and can't quite gather the car up for the landing, and now we're looking at the sky and slightly going downhill. We can stop the vehicle though, which is always useful. It is still controllable. Yeah, it's a decent all-round car, this one. As I said, there is no real major problems. There's just sort of little driving mistakes from me on that one. Turned in a little bit too soon on that corner, clipped the inside rock, and rolled the car over. And yeah, of course, this is still a road vehicle, and the bumps can sometimes make a mess of things. Again, another just clipped a bump a little bit wrong, ended up off the course, rolled and flipped our way, and we're still kind of just about on track. Again, it didn't really spend too much time sort of doing the long soarings off the edge of the cliffs so much on this one. There were sort of smaller shunts, really. Again, just got a little bit wrong over the bumps, and then got the landing awkward and spun the car around. It's never helpful. Never helpful. Doing that sort. Again, we're coming down towards the tied hairpin. We may have just overdone that one. I think I got the front slightly caught on the rocks, or on the inside of the hill bit there. I think that's what dragged the car around. A bit of a strange one, that one. But after a little while, I got a clean run with the Stallion. And as I said, you know, it's not really that bad of a car. Got to be a little bit careful, as per normal, with the road vehicles down this course. You have got to be a bit careful, but it dealt with pretty much everything you could throw at it. The brakes were quite nice, the steering was pretty good, it had quite a lot of grip, considering we've essentially got a muscle car going down a very narrow off-road track. I mean, you could chuck it around these corners. It was absolutely fine. It was, yeah, it was a nice car to drive. Occasionally, yeah, I had little problems with it. It's quite a wide vehicle. I found out, at least it felt quite a wide vehicle, and this is a very narrow course. So yeah, I had the occasional just slight misjudgments on things, but otherwise, yeah, didn't really have too many problems as we come up towards the second of the bigger jumps, and this time get the landing much nicer that time. No spinning around, almost clipped the wall there, and over the final of the jumps, It's not, again, not quite an ideal landing on that one, but we didn't get bounced up, which is always good. Things go a little bit wrong down this final section as we're on two wheels and bouncing off the inside of the course, and then get chucked around in the final corner. Then we are just a run towards the line, and then we manage to do a roll. As you cross the line, yeah, it was quite a good roll, in all honesty. We may have bounced off a tree, I think. But see, we landed it, it's fine. I mean, it's on the edge of the hill, but it's fine. Honestly, nothing wrong with it. Yeah, the standing race car made it down without too many issues. Only got a little bit out of shape on the final sort of narrow strip, but otherwise, a very good car. Up next, we have one of the new vehicles, the new race cars, Mascaro, something. I can't pronounce this car. That's as good as you're going to get from me, okay? Yeah, I love the look of this car. It's a fantastic looking vehicle, and there's lots of race parts that you can put on it that we have here. Side skirts, a silly wing, maybe not quite up to the crew levels of silly wings, but it's a pretty good sizable wing on this one. So yeah, I was looking forward. Again, look, the bloody hikers are doing it again. They're determined to determined to get in the videos and ruin the runs. Of course, now they're going to stop there because there's a car, and now they're going to start taking some pictures. You know, there's a race car there waiting to go. And now you're going to take a phone call. Sure, you do them things. I'm not sure if I clipped him or not in that one. Yeah, I like this car. I do like the look of this car. It's a fantastic looking vehicle. Of course, it comes in orange as well as the standard colour, which is always a bonus. It has all of the racing parts, if you like, stuck on it, because I think it looks pretty damn cool. So we set off with this, and I was expecting this to be fast. The supercars, the race cars, well, I say race cars, I've not really been race cars on here before, but like the supercars and sports cars tend to be quick down here, even though they probably shouldn't with their ride height and so on. So I expected this car to be pretty quick. We almost got all the way down on the first run, just tried to carry a little bit too much speed down the little side road bit, and yeah, I couldn't stop it in time. And we got a little bit flung off the course there. But we made it pretty much all of the way down to the bottom. And again, the next attempt just got it slightly out of position on one of the bigger jumps, and then I couldn't bring it back together in time on that one. But we made it a long way down the course, as we're now going down the course backwards, and there goes the I love you just see the rear bumper flying off through the air. The cars survived quite well, to be honest. That's about the only thing it lost. Well, we only smashed the rear window. It survived incredibly well, that trip on the mountain. It was the third attempt that I got a quick run down the mountain, making sure to dodge the... I don't want to hit the hikers. They're as annoying as they are. If I do just run into them, they tend to throw the car, especially the lightweight sports cars, tend to throw them around. So yeah, if I can avoid them, I will do. Yeah, it was the third attempt that I got a quick run out of this car. That's how good this vehicle is. I can't quite decide why it is so good. It's perhaps a little bit narrower than the Stallion and the Jester car that comes next. It has an awful lot of grip, it has great acceleration, has very, very good brakes, even if I do run a little bit wide through the hairpin. And the bumps are just not a problem for this car. Despite the fact that it is a low-slung race car, it doesn't have a problem with any of the bumps. It doesn't get thrown around by them. The only errors that were made were sort of my driving errors. It wasn't the car being thrown around by bumps. It was me either slightly mispositioning it when I fell off the road here, or me trying to carry a bit too much speed through a part of the track that I can't. See, over here on the landing, no problems. It's not getting bounced back up into the air and then thrown off the track like a lot of the sports cars are. I mean, that wasn't a particularly the smoothest of landings I could have picked, but it was still fine with it around the second to last corner. Again, it's still fine with it, even with all of the horrible bumps. There's not a problem for the car. We do try and do a backflip almost across the finish line. None of that really matters, because once we're there, the time is finished. We do almost do the backflip though, and then slightly clonk a tree. So there is a bit of damage on the car, but yeah, really very, very nice vehicle to drive. I thought it might struggle with the load ride height and so on, but not at all. It was a lovely car to drive. Our third and final vehicle, it is the Jester race car. Again, another vehicle that was very quick when driven down in standard spec on the 360 version. I was expecting this to be another quick car. You know, the supercars do tend to be fast, but would it be as good as the previous one? Again, we can get a bit of a strobe light going on, and again, the hikers are determined to watch. This time, though, they do actually move out of the way. which was very nice of them. Thank you for that. I didn't have to run you over. Yeah, they do get out of the way of the race car that's pointing down a mountain. Yeah, again, another car that I quite like this one, and we can have all sorts of silly parts on it with a humongous wing and so on. Again, on the opening run, it wasn't too bad. I'm pretty sure I did just get some airtime off a Cougar there, and then I just couldn't quite slow it down in time. I was expecting, I was perhaps overestimating the brakes. Of course, it does have very good brakes. Can't quite get away with that one in slowing it down. But of course, when we do fall off the cliff, you can slam on the brakes and it'll get stopped very, very quickly. Again, much like the previous car, it was a nice vehicle to drive. In all honesty, there wasn't huge amounts of problems, a little bit wider, and yeah, you do notice that I was turning at the same point there as I would have done with the other car, and it no, this is a much bigger vehicle. This one that just didn't quite work, and then we're coming across the final of the big jumps. I'm not entirely sure how I got away with that landing. Somehow I did, and then we had far too much speed to get. No, it's never gonna fit down there at that sort of speed. Yeah, I think it's a little bit strange. The takeoff of that jump, it was twisty on the takeoff, which is not particularly normal, not ideal. It wasn't so much the bouncing up on the landing that you do get sometimes. Again, I get kind of lucky on the landing of that one. Get it very sideways, but can gather it up, only to lose it on the next corner. It's not as nice over the jumps as the Mascaro, or however the bloody hell that thing is pronounced. It's just not quite as nice on the landings, and that was what was causing a little bit of problem. I may have also got a big kick of oversteer, which is not ideal, in all honesty. And we managed to get a roll in for good measure. Yeah, I've occasionally spun out cars when you dip a wheel over the edge of the thing. That was just me overdoing it on the power, I think, and spinning the race car round, which was not my finest piece of driving. But it didn't take too long with the Jester either to get a quick time out, get a good time out of it, because much like the other race car, it's pretty good down here. It's got lots of acceleration, it's got very good brakes, it has a hell of a lot of grip. It doesn't like the bumpy stuff as much, this car. It'll get thrown around a bit more, and you have got to be careful in a couple of places, and I've been careful through here now. Don't want to split. Again, you can see it just a little bit more oversteery through there than other cars that I've driven down here. I guess it is a very powerful. I think, does the Jester count as a sports car class car on here, or is it a super? I'm not actually sure. But yeah, it will get a little bit more sideways than some of the other vehicles. I mean, you would kind of be expecting these sort of cars to be sliding around on dirt, but this one's certainly been the more oversteering of the vehicles that I've driven. You can take quite a lot of speed through some of these corners. You do have to be careful in these, though. The landings of the jumps, that time there, again, even with a very good landing, we're still running a little bit wide, and this next jump is quite scary. Never quite trusted this car over that jump. I could get away with it. It's a little bit of a heavy impact on the front of the car. We do get away with it, and then we're slowing down a little bit for this side path again. Not quite on two wheels. Never good coming into that second to last corner on two wheels. Do manage to get it stopped again. Take a little bit of a bump on some of the ruts, and it's across the line. We're almost going for a front flip across the line. So we've had a back flip, a front flip, and a barrel roll across the finish line with the three racing vehicles. But yeah, the Jester made it down to the bottom. Get most of the damage I think almost all of the damage to these cars was done after they crossed the line with whatever various forms of flips they wanted to try. But yeah, you've got to be careful with the bumps. Unsurprisingly, with a race car, this one didn't quite like it, but it didn't have too many issues. On to the times, and we have a new fastest car. The Mascaro goes to second place. It was never going to beat a motorbike. The motorbikes are just so much grip that cars cannot beat them down here, but that is a good time, a 1:23.6. That's a lot faster than anything else that we have had down here. The Jester goes into third with a 1:26.9. I'm actually surprised quite the size of that gap. I thought the Jester was going to be closer, but maybe it's the jumps. He's just being a little bit more cautious on some of them. Perhaps that's where it loses the time. Yeah, I expected there to be a smaller gap. Interestingly, the Stallion stock car actually goes slower than the standard one. They're very, very similar. I think I lost the time on the run through those final corners, I think was a little bit scrappy with the stock car, and perhaps that's where we lost that half a second. Yeah, obviously those two are very evenly matched in performance-wise to have set such similar times. Anyway, that is it from me, so thank you very much for watching, and until next time, a goodbye.